This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Stop harboring criminals, cops warn residents after 4 gunmen killed in Central Village. Assistant Commissioner Gary Griffiths, commanding officer for the Police Area 5 Division, is imploring residents of Central Village to desist from harboring criminals, calling the area a hotbed for crime. He issued the warning while speaking to journalists following the police killing of 4 alleged gunmen in the Zambia section of the community early Wednesday. The entire space here is a hotbed where men frequently engage each other and engage the security forces, Griffiths said. Unfortunately, during this morning's engagement, 4 were shot fatally. I am imploring persons from the community to desist from harboring criminals. Our focus are guns, gangs, and gunmen. Wherever you are, we will be coming at you, he added. Police report that they encountered several gunmen during an operation in Zambia in the wee hours of Wednesday morning, and following an exchange of gunfire, 4 of the men were killed and 3 illegal firearms found. World War II bomb discovered in Manchester. Residents' swift action commended. A World War II bomb was on Tuesday found by a group of men in newly closed in Mandeville, Manchester, during the excavation of a fish pond. Commanding officer of the Manchester Police, Superintendent Lloyd Darby, said the bomb was discovered about 1 p.m. and the police later alerted. He said members of the Jamaica Defense Force were subsequently called in by the police, who retrieved the bomb with the intention to have it detonated in Vernham Field in Clarendon. Darby told the news that it is yet to be determined how the bomb, which was seemingly there for decades and buried very deep, got to the location. However, he said the men who found it ought to be commended for their awareness and interest in public safety. These things seem to have a long-term life, and so it was handled very carefully. Not because it is old it means it can't go off. It may not go off with the same power as when it was new, but it could still do damage, he said. Darby added that based on information from the JDF experts, even in its current state, it posed a risk. We are grateful that nothing happened. More blood in Trenchtown battleground. There is a thin line between life and death for residents of Trenchtown in the Kingston Western Police Division, as even mere association can have fatal outcomes as a gang war between the enclaves of Angola and Zimbabwe heats up. The latest bloodletting occurred on Sunday night with the murder of 36-year-old Nigel Hanson, otherwise known as a Kush. The community has been tense and the police personnel have been positioned on the ground to ease the fear and the concerns of the residents. Hanson, the news understands, was known to both warring factions and was reportedly killed while the police were changing shifts. The police were always here. They waited until the shift changed and then right away they called him out and fired shots, a senior police officer, speaking on condition of anonymity, said, referring to the slim window for the execution of the crime. At the 9th Street crime scene on Monday, bloodstains marked the spot where Hanson was murdered. A blood-spattered wristwatch was also on the scene. The hostility between both sides was palpable, with plenty of blame to apportion. Residents from Zimbabwe claimed that Hanson, who lived there with his female companion, spent most of his time in Angola. One man appeared to be struggling with trauma, having lost several loved ones to the gang war and not wanting to become a murder statistic. The tearful resident said that he had already lost a 6-year-old granddaughter to murder in central Kingston last year. The residents disclosed that the gang conflict had been intensified by external actors, with fighters recruited from Spanish Town, Lizard Town, and Portmore. A shop operator told the news that he has resorted to opening his business in sync with police presence in the community. Everything affect me, but what me I go do? Me I go make careless people stop me from eat food? Me and my wife? The shopkeeper questioned. Another business operator told the news that Hanson inadvertently crossed the thin line of death by association. What you think? You put yourself in a trouble long time, a resident and a business operator said. Up to March 6 this year, the Kingston Western Police Division recorded 17 murders, a 15% reduction when compared to 20 killings during the corresponding period in 2021. Shootings year-on-year also fell 43.5%, with 13 reports compared to 23 incidents during the corresponding period in 2021. Simpson Miller excluded from Traffic Bureau hearing. High Court Judge Stephanie Jackson Hazley has granted an application to exclude former Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller from giving evidence in the Traffic Bureau hearing. The decision was handed down today. The application was filed last week. At the start of the hearing on Monday, lawyers for Simpson Miller indicated that the application was urgent and regards a medical issue. K.D. Knight, the attorney representing Simpson Miller, disclosed that the application was supported by an affidavit from Dr. Denise Eldermere Scherer as well as a medical certificate. Eldermere Scherer is a professor of public health and aging at the University of the West Indies, Mona. Simpson Miller was among 5 People's National Party functionaries down to answer questions from authorities in the Netherlands about a $31 million donation the party received from the Dutch firm Traffic Bureau Beheer. The financial contribution was made while Jamaica, under the leadership of the Simpson Miller administration, had an oil lifting agreement with the Traffic Bureau. Dutch firms are prohibited from making donations to foreign governments. Simpson Miller, former chairman Robert Pickersgill, Philip Paulwell, former General Secretary Colin Campbell, and the businessman Norton Hines are the persons to testify. Hines and Paulwell have already taken the stand. Jamaican man dies in single vehicle crash in Cayman. The Caymanian police have confirmed that a man who died in a single vehicle collision in Grand Cayman last Saturday was Jamaican. He has been identified as a 48-year-old Eric Sherman. It was reported that a car in which Mr. Sherman was traveling crashed into a concrete column. According to Caymanian media, the crash occurred shortly after Mr. Sherman left the scene of a fight in which he was assaulted. Transfer of pension funds to be made less difficult. The Jamaican government is moving to repeal and replace the Pensions Act to shorten the vesting period and to make it easier for persons to transfer their retirement funds between employers. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, making the announcement in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, noted that some pension schemes have an intolerable long vesting period, which is the length of time an employee must work for a company before pension benefits are guaranteed. He said this landscape works against inclusive and equitable growth, and the government will introduce a mandatory vesting of pensions after 5 years. He argued that this rigidity in the current pension system acts as a disincentive to join. Government announces reduced the import duty on 1,000 electric vehicles per year. Persons in Jamaica will soon be able to import a limited number of electric vehicles more cheaply. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark announced on Tuesday that the government is reducing import duties on these vehicles from 30% to 10% for a 5-year period. The reduction is to encourage a change to the more energy-efficient vehicles in light of rising gas prices. Dr. Clark, opening the 2022-2023 budget debate in the House of Representatives, said it cost 1/3 of the cost to power an electric vehicle in comparison to what it cost to provide the petrol for a traditional vehicle. The policy change will take effect in the first quarter of the new financial year. He clarified, however, that the number of vehicles which can be imported at the reduced rate will be limited at this time to 1,000 per year in order to protect the government's revenues.
Electric vehicles cost 1/3 of what petroleum-powered vehicles cost to fuel. In other words, if it takes $10,000 to fill a car with petrol, it would cost $3,000 if the car was powered by electricity. This is so as using petrol as fuel wastes a lot of energy in the form of heat exhaust from the engine that is making the energy. Because duties on motor vehicles are so large and a huge part of government revenues, we will need to limit the number of electric vehicles being imported that benefit from this duty to, in the first instance, 1,000 per annum. And we'll come with more details on how this will work. And this measure is to be implemented in the first quarter, and further details will be provided.
8,000 people to be deployed for population census. 8,000 people are being recruited for Jamaica's 15th population and housing census, which is set to get underway this year after being delayed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The census is conducted every 10 years, but was pushed back from 2021 as the critical supplies were not available in time. Among the persons being recruited for the census are temporary field workers, including area managers, census supervisors, census takers, and data editors. Interviewers will be deployed island-wide to visit each household, which will be asked to complete a questionnaire. The main data collection phase is expected to last up to December, with a general census report available by December 2023. The census is the only statistical product that provides information on the social, demographic, and economic profile of the population. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.